So tonight on Crypt Tidbits, we have Jason Kenzie, a wildlife photographer, producer, and star of Searching for Sasquatch. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Hey, it's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Jay is also joining us tonight as my co-host for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm really excited to be back at it, and I got some interesting questions we'll dig into here tonight, and I'm going to have some fun. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here, both of you. Let me start with, I have a list of questions, Jason. I'm sorry. As an animal photographer, how does that give you some insight into how to approach your investigations?
Into searching for Bigfoot?
Correct.
Well, so for years, I've met, I can't say I've met every animal on the planet because that's almost impossible. But I've been able to, quote, hug quite a few animals. So I would meet the people who live with these exotic animals, and my motto is no cages. I have to be able to interact with them. So I would hear stories and I would learn interesting facts about these different kinds of animals that I did not know. And seeing how these animals act in the wild, like when I went out filming grizzly bears or going after cougars, and seeing how they stalk their prey or how they move through the forest. Talking to people who actually live with bears and cougars, a lady that has wolves, and watching how the wolves, move around in packs. And so when I go out into the field searching for these creatures, these Bigfoot creatures, I always hear from other people who talk about, maybe Bigfoot can be invisible. Maybe it can cloak, or maybe it has extreme camouflage. And so I think back, I wonder what real animal in this wild really does have kind of cloaking abilities or extreme camouflage. And there's the cuttlefish, that can literally almost go translucent. And an octopus, they can form almost into looking like a coral reef. And then there's, the stick bug is another one. Right. And then, there's quite chameleons. Of course, the chameleon can only transform into like different colors in its environment. It can't go, can't change into a rainbow, right? Or it can't go fluorescent pink, right? It can only go so many. So that's how so when I go into the field, that's how I, and also Bigfoot and the way that they have some kind of a sound, that vibration that moves through you, right? The infrasound. Well, there are literally animals on this planet that has infrasound.
Yeah.
The tiger,
the
grizzly bear, the whale, right? And maybe even the stiller jay, which is that bluebird that has a black head and has kind of I think they might have some kind of an infrasound kind of ability. So that's my answer to your question. It went on forever. I know.
That's an interesting take on that, because I think Jess and I have discussed that before about its ability to, and I had taken it more from a not a spiritual realm, but a way that it could almost like take itself out of the equation, the Bigfoot, and bring itself back in. But the camouflage obviously makes more sense. Now, did your love of animals and animal photography lead to your desire to begin your search for Bigfoot, or was that something you always had a desire to?
Well, to be honest, I actually got kind of got forced into it. Really, I just got dropped onto me because I've always heard about these Sasquatch people out where I live, because I live in New Westminster, which is not far from Harrison Hot Springs in British Columbia. So it's very close. I think I'm only about an hour and 10 minutes to Harrison. And that is like the epicenter of Sasquatch sightings. It used to be #1 in the world, but in my books, in my realm of all the places that I've investigated around North America, I have to say that Michigan and the UP of Michigan, in my books, is far. There's way more encounters that I've experienced out there than I have even in Harrison Hot Springs area.
And that was going to lead me to my question of where you think the possibility of a Sasquatch being eventually found would be. So I would assume it would be Michigan.
Well, I've found some incredible stuff out here,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many stories of people seeing them between here and Alaska, and even in Alaska. But on my journey, I mean, I've investigated 50 locations, 25 or states, and areas all over North America. And the UP of Michigan has to be one of the biggest activities that I found. You know.
How do you determine if a location meets the criteria for a search? Like, could I call you and say, "Hey, I saw a Bigfoot yesterday," and you're down here, or does it? What type of evidence would you need to, I guess, visit a location?
Hi, I was just picked up and carried through the forest and thrown over a cliff. Do you want to come? No, maybe not.
That would be amazing.
I'm
But
on the cliff. I'm lying here, bleeding out. I need you to come.
Yep, you were my first call, Jason.
My first call. Exactly.
Yeah.
After I get off the phone with you, 911 is next. Okay. Everything's spinning.
You need a little more than that, you say?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit more than that, for sure. I'd be like, okay, I'm on my way. Just slap a Band-Aid on it.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. There is someone that just contacted me not too long ago who, it's funny, I get people that contact me all the time, and they're like, I have these Bigfoot creatures that come up to my house and they peek in the windows, and I'm so scared, and it's scaring my family, and we don't go outside into the backyard anymore. And it's, you know, I look out the window and I see them, and we're talking the most recent call that I got was only 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
I get quite a few.
Yeah.
And a few times. And so this is what I tell everyone. Okay. So for all you people out there, I'm going to put myself out of business for sure. But I usually tell them, I say, well, they usually ask me, what can I do? Do you want to come down and investigate? And I usually shoot myself in the foot, because I say, okay, what you do is you get 2 cameras, 2 video cameras, like a tree cam and maybe a security camera. And you place one facing the forest behind your house, and then another one facing your house, and you're done. There we go. They will never come around, because for some reason Bigfoot doesn't like cameras. And sure enough, out of about maybe 12 different people who have contacted me, I would say 3 of them have called me back within like a week and a half, and said, "Oh my gosh, it worked. I haven't seen them. They haven't come and banged the side of my house, and yeah, I'm not afraid anymore. I don't have that weird sensation. Thank you." And it's so weird. If an area has multiple reports, like not just one person, but multiple reports in one area, then I'll go and investigate that area. and I'll see if I can find tree structures or footprints, maybe audio.
Mhm.
The tree structures are like a massive giveaway. Someone should, you know, if they do happen to come upon a Sasquatch, they should tell them, listen, stop putting in tree structures because it's telling us where you are. So
Yeah, it's pretty much
It's
a dead giveaway at this point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
You had some medium, some remote viewers
yep.
on your program. What's the benefit that they can bring to your show that maybe somebody just like traipsing through the woods wouldn't be able to bring?
You mean other than great entertainment?
Yes.
Well, so I brought this one lady on, like to come on an investigation. Her name was Robin Haynes McCrae. And when I first heard about her, I didn't know what to think about it, right? And she shows up, and you know, I'm still, you know, I'm a skeptic still, even with Bigfoot. I'm still a 50% believer or a 50% non-believer, like I'm just 50-50. And so when Robin showed up, and she comes walking up the trail, I right away start asking her. I'm like, so, is there any Bigfoots here, right? Because she says that she talks to these Bigfoots through mind speak, right? She can mind speak with these creatures all over the world. She can talk to them in Russia. She can talk to them in the Himalayas. She could talk with them all over North America. Doesn't have to be in front of her. So I'm like, so tell me, is there any Bigfoots here? She's like, oh, yes, there is. There is. I said, really? Really? Where? And so I was on this big property, this big farm. This farm is like almost 200 years old. It is, I can't remember exactly what the acreage is, but I'm going to say like 40 acres. Like it's big, lots of corn, big cornfield. And there's this one area that I would go and look at. And it's really, the forest inside there is scary. It's almost like, if you remember, in Disney with Hansel and Gretel,
Yeah.
when they went through that dreaded forest,
Hmm.
it all looks dead in there, like all the trees. So
Yeah.
that's what it looks like. So she points. She goes, they're telling me they're over there in that area. And I'm like, really? And I look back, I'm like, oh yeah? Why are they over there? Like, what keeps them over there? She's like, they're telling me it's because of their food sources over there, like birds. And I'm like, what? Because that area is where all the wild turkeys roost at night. Like you'd see, like when sunset's coming, all the turkeys go flocking over there. Like they all go in there and they roost up in the trees. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, they're over there right now. Like, I'm like, really? Well, maybe we should go investigate. You should tell them that I'm going to come over there tonight and investigate. And she's like, yeah, no, they know. They know. And I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, you eavesdroppers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, they know. So I'm like, okay, so that night we went there, we had to drive. So I don't know if anyone lives on a farm, even though from A to B, if you cross the field from A to B, like we just cross the field, it would take 4 minutes to get to where we had to go. But on a farm, because it's
Yeah.
an active farm where they have corn, there isn't any corn at the time, but they drive down the edges. So it took us about maybe 10 minutes to drive all the way over to that area. And we parked. The grass is pretty much up to my chest. And there's about 5 of us. And we're all walking. We're walking through the tall grass, getting to the entrance of the spooky forest. I call it the dead forest because it's really freaky looking. It looks amazing on film. And it's nighttime at this time, like probably about 10 at night. And just as we pass, sorry,
And I was like, I think you were
Like,
reenacting the
no,
moment.
someone,
That's
yeah.
okay.
Call a doctor. He's having a seizure or something.
Yeah, exactly. I just froze. Okay. I'm like, okay.
He's
Just
lost in his memories.
well, I heard something over here, and I'm like, and just as we passed through, like just like literally, if you could see a line, just as soon as we passed through into the final bushes into the dead zone, it was like crash, bang, bang, something crashes to the forest beside us, and I jump, and I look, and I just saw like it was black, and I just saw just the back of it as it went into the forest, and the leaves popped back open, and I went booking it because I wanted to make sure there wasn't someone playing a joke and was wearing something. So I'm running, thinking if someone with a suit, I'm going to be able to catch up to them. Well, I am jumping logs and running. I have my camera in my hand, and it's not on because I wasn't prepared. I just wasn't at that moment. I wasn't ready. And I'm running, whatever it was, it outpaced me. And it was, as it was running, it was taking down like these big branches, branches, usually when we run through the forest, we avoid the branches. Nah, it was just mowing them down, and you could hear it crashing. And as I'm jumping and running, I could see the trail, and it was gone, whatever it was. I go back. I only ran maybe not even 100 feet, really. And then I went back to everyone, and we started looking at this old tree, and then we turned around. Then we started seeing all these eye shine. Like we saw these, whatever they were, peeking behind trees, and we're all seeing this. So we start walking towards that area, towards where there must have been 2 or 3 of them. And you could see, and now by this time I'm filming.
Yeah.
And as we're walking, we start kind of running a bit, and Robin is behind me going, Jason, stop running after, you're running after a young one. And the parents are telling me that you're pissing them off and you're scaring the young one, and they're getting mad. And I just wanted to get close, right? To make sure it wasn't a deer. I know there wasn't a bear because there wasn't any bear actually there's never been any bear seen on that property ever. And there was no signs. We did see signs of deer throughout the couple weeks I was there. But anyway, we could hear, and I was catching it on camera, like the crashing through the forest. And then we actually were catching on camera that the eyes looking at us. And then at one point, I stop everyone. I'm like, shh, we're just going to stop. We're going to turn off all the lights, and we're just going to sit down in the dark. And we're just going to listen. We're listening. After about, I want to say 5 minutes, my ADHD got the better of me, and I got up and I said, guys, I'm just going to take a little walk. And Robin, and we had flares and infrared cameras and scopes that we were looking through. And I walk about 25 feet from, maybe 30 feet from everyone. And I came around some bushes, and boom, as I came around the bushes, there in front of me, about 20, 25 feet, was this creature. I had the eye shine. I could only see the eye shine, and it was looking at me. I had my video camera, and I didn't want to take my eyes off of it because out of all the years that I've been interviewing eyewitnesses, people who said that they've seen these creatures, as soon as they take their eyes off of them, and they look back, they're gone. So my eyes are like, and I it's hard to say, but imagine this is the camera that I had, right? So I'm holding it like this, and there's the red button up top. And imagine that my eye is just looking. And I'm like, where the fuck is the red? And I'm trying to hit the button, and I'm standing there like, okay, and and I hit it. I hit the button, and within that one, like half a second from the time you hit the record to when it starts recording, there's a bit of delay. It went to the ground, went behind the bushes. And by that time I'm recording, and I'm standing there, and it's looking at me behind the bushes like this, very primate-like.
Yep.
And I am trying not to shake. and my camera is on, it's on no zoom. It's on full, almost like, yeah, it was, there was
Wide
no
angle.
zoom. So it was like, I'm standing there, and to be honest, because Robin had been yelling at me earlier about me, it's a young one and I'm pissing off the parents and to stop running. I was thinking, man, if this is a young one, I was literally waiting for something to come up
Yeah.
behind me and just go right on the
Yep.
top of my head. And so I'm shaking. So when you try and zoom in, it gets really shaky, right? But I did catch it. You can actually see the eye shine.
God.
And there's been a few people who's contacted me who've seen the footage,
Mhm.
said they watched it on their 4K TV. That was 100-inch 4K TV. And they said that you could see facial expressions and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's really cool footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I forgot what the question was.
I don't know either. That's okay. We'll just move into another one. That's fine. Like a weird question. Did she say, so is it English that she like, how does
Yes,
it work in her
yes.
head, I guess?
I get, because I've asked her that. I've asked her, and it's in English. It's in
Okay.
whatever, it's in whatever language that you want it to be.
Yeah. I was wondering,
Right?
like, if she has like a Yeti, does it come through as Russian, or is it
Yeah.
all just translated mentally, I guess, for
I
her?
imagine it's like a Google Translate.
Yeah, it's all
It
up
comes
here.
in one language, goes
All
out
up
the other.
there, yeah.
It would make sense. Yeah.
Well,
does make-
she took me to a place, and things did happen. I'm still not saying that what was in front of me or in front of all of us
Mhm.
was these creatures, these Bigfoot creatures. But and at the same time as we're running after, the turkeys were above us, crashing, because they're quite loud in the forest.
And
So that didn't push you from 50 to like 60%? Like
No,
no?
at that point I was still 50%.
Mhm.
I like the fact that you're a 50%er, that you're not like, yep, here it is. And
Yeah.
here's an eye shine. So that's a Bigfoot. Like, I like the fact that you're still searching and not found.
Well, I really want to be 100%. That's the thing. I mean, I really want to come out and say, hey, listen, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
these creatures are real. Like, I really want to say that, but I have to first 100% see it
Yeah.
and know it. Like, I have to make sure there's 100% in front of me, not just someone in a suit. I have to be able to see it like 20 feet from me, broad daylight,
Yeah.
or maybe even at nighttime, 20 feet with the flashlight, like,
No, I like that. You want the evidence. You don't just want the theory of it, I guess.
Mhm.
Well, the newest documentary that is about the launch that I just finished editing, and now it's in the rotation waiting to get launched by the distributor. We actually came across a nest,
Oh,
giant nest. It was like 8 feet in diameter, and it was about 3 feet off the ground, like 3 feet high of the ground.
what installment is that? 15 or 14?
14.
14.
Number
Okay.
14. That's so there's 1 to 14, and then there's 2 specials.
Yep.
And I'm now working on number 15 at the moment. And that is actually going to be a dog man and Bigfoot collab.
Do you also search for other cryptids or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a documentary on the flying dinosaurs of New Mexico.
Mm.
The parasauruses or the pterodactyls or
Yep.
the pterodactyls. I mean, I grew up with pterodactyl. I don't know why they kept changing it, but you literally never hear the name pterodactyl ever. It's always pterodactyl or parasaurus or
Mm.
you
I just remember from Pee Wee Herman's show when he had
Yeah.
Pateri.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
Pateri on. That's how I always remembered it.
Yeah. So do that. This summer, I'm gonna look into Mothman,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Jersey Devil is one I want to go after. Yeah, there's and I do the paranormal documentaries too,
Mm.
paranormal adventures.
That
So
seems
I-
like that your neck of the woods is one of the most paranormal active areas in the world. I know a while ago it was the most. The British Columbia type area was followed by the Bridgewater Triangle, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, we have what is called the British Columbia Triangle
Mm.
out here, where there's been lots of young men who have been lost, never seen again, and just disappear with their vehicles still running, you know,
Oh, wow.
like in the middle of nowhere. There's been many over the years.
Are
I'm
there,
not scared going into the forest because, hey, I'm not young anymore. So
Mm.
there's an age limit to the
there
disappearances.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Do they have any theories? Or do they think it's a paranormal, alien, or just gone?
yeah. You know, of course, conspiracy
Hmm.
theory, which in this day and age, most of them are real. Like most of them are coming out to be real. So now when people talk about it, you know, but yeah, over the years, there's been talks about um, like maybe a kind of an alien, either alien or maybe even Bigfoot,
Hmm.
taking these people or hikers and and at one time there was a hint of a kind of a mafia group or some kind of a group that are taking young men so they can take their organs,
Mm.
like kidnapping them.
Oh, wow.
Because all the men that were going missing all look very similar. They were
Hmm.
all under the age of 30. They were all quite fit,
Yep.
all, you know. All I was like thinking is, whew, thank I'm none of those. So I'm good, guys. Don't worry about me.
There's just some, there's a different type of cougar in the woods up there grabbing all the men. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly.
That's all. I know you're still like 50-50 on Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So what what do you think a Bigfoot is in its base form, I guess?
Well, I mean, I think it is flesh and blood.
Okay.
I do think it has some kind of abilities. And then again, I go with what's out there.
Hmm.
And I do know that the polar bear, the fur is translucent
Yeah.
and the skin is black. And the way it shifts its body, the hair actually can make the polar bear invisible, right? Just the way that it angles its body. It's now I don't know if the polar bear knows that. Like I don't know if it knows that when you turn its body just right. But what if Sasquatch, you know,
Yep.
because I talked to a guy once, he was a farmer, he went out into his field doing a tractor, he looked down, he saw this what he thought was this giant tree in the middle of his land, like his on, and there was no crops, and he was just standing there. So he drove up about 50 feet away, got out and walked up to it, and he's looking at it. And then he reaches out and he sees the fist go like this. So he sees the hand because the hand's down by the side, goes like this. And he just had uncontrollable fear. And he backed up and he turned around to go back to his tractor. And when he turned around to look, he said it was booking it across the field. And it went so fast, it was gone within seconds. Just ran.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
it just taps into that like primal
Yeah.
primal fear in your brain, I think, when you do see something unnatural, or not unnatural, but unknown to your everyday life like that.
It
I mean,
almost leads me to believe that they're almost more intelligent than we are in a way.
yeah.
We pride ourselves as humans on being so smart, but like maybe they're the smarter ones in this case, you know.
Well, I really do because they outsmarted us.
Hmm.
Um, I think they have an ability of being, I almost think they have some kind of I don't know what it is, either a vibration or some kind of a sound or something that can disrupt the tree cams. Because I have physically, like, I would always hear people say, you know, I had the camera, the tree cam, and I took all the photos except for one. And so I never really knew what to think about that until it happened to me, where I had a tree cam and I put it out there. And I put a lollipop out there, and the next night I went out, gathered it, didn't even look at the camera. I just thought it was a chipmunk or something that took the lollipop and bit the wrapper, like a little bit of the wrapper, and threw it on the ground. I still had the lollipop. I took it home. When I got home, like a week later, I went and I was uploading all the footage onto my computer, and I went to the footage, and there must have been about 50 pictures throughout the few days that I was using it, and all the photos worked. Like all 25 of them worked, and then the one that I really was excited to see, the chipmunk, take the little, was corrupted. It did not work at all. But the 25 pictures before it, the 25 pictures after it, all worked. Everything was perfect, except for the one file, the one video clip that, because when I go through the videos, I see where I'm going up, I'm walking. You see me setting it up, right? You see me walking away, right? Different clips. Then you see me looking at the tree the next evening and then taking it off the tree. But the one picture, the one video clip that was going to show what I thought was a chipmunk or a squirrel or something, that took it out because I put it in a knot of a tree. I put it in a knot of a tree 5 feet off the ground. And yeah, it was corrupted. None of my video programs, I even sent it away to try and get it, back to normal.
Yeah.
They said, no, this is the strangest thing we've ever seen.
There has to be some sort of like EMP.
Something.
Yeah.
Something. So, if it was, before I did put it in the tree, I did yell out, hey, Sasquatch, this is for you. And if you don't want it, don't eat it because I want it. It looks delicious. So please don't eat it if you don't want it. That's what I said. And I caught that, all on film saying it. Sure enough, whatever it was, it bit the wrapper, licked it, didn't like it, threw it on the ground.
Wow. That's
and
crazy.
It may have still been a chipmunk or a bug or something. A chipmunk or a squirrel. But just so strange. I was pretty choked.
It is strange that cameras, trail cams, there's some sort of magnetic, I'm not a scientist, but a magnetic type of like anomaly that surrounds a creature.
And I still ate the lollipop. So I think I've eaten some Bigfoot DNA, which, hasn't affected me at all.
Hasn't kicked in at all yet.
I am good.
You actually ate it afterwards?
I did eat it, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did eat it. Because here I'm thinking it's a chipmunk. Right?
It's just bringing you closer to your search.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's hives.
Everything's normal. Where is your next journey to?
So I'm heading down to Florida. I'm going down there again to go out with a researcher who is a tracker. He's an amazing tracker. He's used to be in the military. We're going to go out there. I'm going to call it like Bigfoot Tracker. And we're going to go out looking for a skunk ape.
That's awesome.
See the evidence, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I leave in about 7 days.
Oh, wow. Fast then. Yeah. And do you differentiate between like a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skunk ape, or are they all like the same to you?
I think they're all like, okay, so if you think of just, Caucasian, Chinese, Japanese, I think Bigfoot is like that. They're all kind of related, but they're all like a different nationality of some kind.
Okay. I love the way to look at that. That's nice. So like they just kind of all branched off a little bit from the same original.
You encountered something one night when you were walking general, didn't you?
I did. I can't say it was a Bigfoot. The more I think about it now, it had to be like a Dogman type of situation because of the way it moved. it did a little spider crawl,
Yeah.
which made the body wise made me think it was. Now at the time I was like, I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
Even my dog at the time was stunned. I just ran off. But thinking back on it now, the way like the body movement was, it had to be more of a dog man than a Bigfoot.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's all that makes sense, you know?
I had a spider crawl.
Yeah. I don't like that whole body movement. It's really creepy when a creature like that does that because your brain can't comprehend what it's doing in the least.
And that was in the UP. That was one of my first incidents, was seeing a creature, this weird thing, just do this. It looked like a giant spider.
Mm-hmm.
It just crawled across. And I was like only 20, maybe 25 feet from it too.
Yeah.
And it just went right across. I surprised it. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
It.
It's creepier. I'd rather have a Bigfoot or a dog man or any cryptid that wants to come visit me standing up when they show up, not crawling on all fours.
Yeah.
That's I don't like that at all.
I agree.
Not at all. You wrote a Bigfoot song. What inspired that besides Bigfoot?
So, I've done two.
Yeah.
I've done two Bigfoot songs. I did one with Todd Parsons, which is more of a country swing, a country bluegrass song, and it's called "Searching for Sasquatch." But the second one that I just did not too long ago, that was just inspired. I wanted to basically promote the upcoming Searching for Sasquatch documentary, number 14. And I just wanted to, I want to share with people, how much fun it can be in the forest, even if we have these monstrous creatures in these forests. For some reason, these creatures don't really want to harm you.
Mm-hmm.
At least, I'm still alive, knock on wood. Damn it. That's not working. So, there we go.
There you go.
But yeah, it just inspired me just to, get people hyped up and to get out into the forest and go on a journey. If you listen to the words, it's that's what's in my head when I'm about ready to go into the forest and go searching.
Yeah, it's a good song. I listened to it today. I really dug it a lot. It's very anthem-like for what you do, and I think you nailed it. It was really well done. So.
Thank you.
I was wondering, have you ever done any historical research? Because I happen to wonder if, before we came to America and started to colonize it, I wonder if the numbers of sightings were, or if it wasn't even considered a sighting, if Native Americans were just living on the land with these creatures, and I just don't know enough about it. Have you ever done any research about the historical?
Oh, yeah. I've talked to quite a few of the First Nations people out here. And some of them say that they used to be hand in hand with these creatures, like friends. They used to trade furs, food with these creatures. And then suddenly there was some kind of something happened that was terrible, that basically broke the truce. I don't know. For all I know, and this is only a theory, maybe being a teenager playing with one of these Bigfoot creatures, maybe accidentally got killed, or maybe a Bigfoot creature killed one of the First Nations people. And then there was a kind of and then there was yelling back and forth, and then suddenly the truce was over, and then now, they don't, because I've heard stories of there being a huge war, like a massive war between Bigfoots and First Nations people.
Oh, wow.
Where they used to actually fight to the death.
It could have been something like that. It could have been the fact that we started taking the land, moving them out of their home.
But I think it must have been something worse than that, because just taking their home, that would be argumental. but accidentally maybe killing someone, maybe
Yep.
maybe a hunter accidentally killed a Bigfoot thinking it was a deer. Because I imagine way back then, there wasn't yellow vests or orange vests.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you hear about hunters every year getting shot and killed, even when they're wearing
Yep.
orange vest, right? So imagine back in the day, that could be as simple as that.
Yeah, just seeing something move in the woods and shooting at it and not realizing what you're hitting.
And then you try and explain, and then there's a riff
Yeah.
and get revenge. Well, I don't know. There's only a theory. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if you think about it, during the time, if you just think about during the time of the Patterson Gimlin film,
Mhm.
there was an internet back then. Like as kids, we had to go outside and play. I mean, we barely had TV.
Yeah.
We only had 6 channels, really.
Yeah.
And we didn't have video games, really, we didn't, back in, in that year. So because we didn't have internet and people didn't travel as much as they did now. So if you think another 40 years before that, when there was literally not even horses or anything, 150 years ago, but yet there was people that knew about these Bigfoot creatures in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
You'd see paintings, people would draw them in completely different areas of North America. And so you have to really think. I mean, nowadays it's easy to bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Bigfoot is so saturated right now. I mean, Bigfoot is like, I wouldn't be surprised if a baby's first word is Bigfoot, right? Because Bigfoot is so is put into our vocabulary at such a young age. It's like, say daddy, say mama, Bigfoot.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's so hard to tell nowadays with evidence. Everything's so faked and AI and manipulated and generated. It's
going to get worse with AI. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't, you see something and it could actually be a picture and you're like, oh, that's fake. You can't trust anything anymore until you see it yourself.
The thing with AI, with video and pictures, the video look and the pictures look too perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like no wrinkles, no nothing. And that's the biggest giveaway, is the too perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like people think I'm AI every day.
They're like, he's too perfect to be real.
It's all right. I'll take that back.
He's going to get abducted up there. He's so perfect.
I just walk down the street and I just hear, he's AI. Yeah. It's terrible.
What do you have for, I guess, advice for somebody who wants to start searching for Sasquatch themselves?
Be fearless, but scared at the same time. My saying is be fearless, right? But I get scared all the time when I'm in the forest. But fear is a good thing, because fear keeps you on your toes, right? So you always, you look around and stuff. I'd say for anyone that wants to go out into the forest, on their own or with someone else, and they're starting out, 2 flashlights and a package of batteries. That's a must. Don't ever go into the forest with just 1 flashlight. Each person should have at least 2. Go with hot hands. That's what you call it.
Yep.
Those hot hands. Go with like 4 or 5 of those, because they can save your life. Because I know from experience that when you're out with your head on the ground looking for footprints or whatnot, you get turned around. And if you have to spend the night out in the forest and you don't have a tent, those hot hands can literally save your life. So that's a good advice. Don't run if something happens. If you go into the forest, just stand your ground, because what if it is a cougar or a bear and you turn your back?
Yep.
That's when they will attack 100%, because that they a lot of times animals, like, people don't know this, but a lot of times animals will always attack their prey from behind. They seldom will they go head first, because the smallest cut in the forest for a wild animal can actually kill them, right? The slightest Wild
Yeah.
animals don't have like medicine that we have. So animals will try not to go, they try not to get hurt. So if they can take out their prey really fast, that's how they'll do it. So they'll always come from behind. Even, mice will, when they attack something, they will actually attack from behind if they can.
Yeah. So don't tuck tail and run the next time I'm in the woods.
Yes, just stand
Okay.
your ground, make yourself look big, and you should be fine.
You're not going to outrun them.
Until you're not.
No.
Take someone that runs slower than you do. That's,
That's the
If I
first
could-
rule. I mean, I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking with us tonight. This is the first time I'm going to do this question. So you're the test on this. I wanted to give us actually 5 words to describe either you, your show, your journey, however you'd like to end the episode with that.
Call it adventurous, stealthy, comical, because I like to, I like it when people can laugh at my fails, right? Because if they can smile, that's a good thing. That was 3.
That was 3. You have to have 2 more.
Fun and witty.
There you go.
And for all you guys out there, if you guys want to check out my Bigfoot documentaries, you can find them all on Tubi. And you can find them under Searching for Sasquatch, or you can find them under Jason Kenzie.
Nice.
And also on Amazon, you have some books too, right?
Yes, on Amazon, you can find, I have a comic book
Yep.
called Searching for Sasquatch and the Hidden Treasure of Bigfoot Valley. And then I have 4 children's books called Adventures of Little JJ. And 2 of them has to do with, Bigfoot, trying to teach kids, don't be scared of Bigfoot, even when they're carrying you off into the forest.
No, thank you very much again. And thank you for Jay for co-hosting tonight's episode.
Thanks, Jay. And I really like your background, by the way.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
really like that.
Yep. I want to say that it has been an honor. I've watched you on a lot of other podcasts and video podcasts, and it's like our paths have almost crossed so many times. So it's been a huge honor to be able to talk to you tonight.
Thank you. This is actually a pretty fun podcast. I can't believe an hour went up.
It did, yeah. No, thank you again. And we will be putting everything in the description of the episode so people can find you on Tubi. They can find you Facebook, Amazon, the woods.
If you can find my animal adventures, because I did a podcast, like a web series called Jason Kenzie's Amazing Animal Adventures. So there's like 400 videos of behind the scenes of all the animals that I've interacted with.
Yeah.
So you can find those on YouTube under A Photo Warrior, all one word.
Excellent.
Or you just go into YouTube and put in Jason Kenzie. And if you find one episode, you'll find,
You're everywhere. You can throw a stone and hit Jason Kenzie somewhere.
Most times it's here, for sure, right on the noggin.
In the deep dark forest of Penn State, where monsters dwell and friendships create, we travel far to places unknown. Together we'll prove Bigfoot's real, not alone, not alone. A Bigfoot adventure like no other, an expedition into the wild to uncover, with hearts of gold and friends so true.